And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Swain Batty League. I am 30 tonight, joined by, as always, AJS0. How you doing?
Really, really good, man. I am super excited for this series. I think we're going to have the chance to cap off what has been one of the most fun seasons of the SBL ever, with hopefully one last really good series because the playoffs have been excellent so far, and on paper, I don't see a way that this series won't be as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And for people who haven't been tuning in, we are in the absolute end of the season. We're at the finals here of Season 9, and it's between King's Incredible Kool-Aid Stand and Think Twice's Scrappy Affiliates. Should be a really good one. And like you said, the season has been very interesting, very fun. Personally, my favorite season ever to cast. And I don't know if that's the game or because I'm not playing anymore. I'm not sure, but it's full of hype here. So we're already in. We're already into the draft here.
Yeah, no surprise there to see TSA starting things off by taking away that Ivern. They know that they want to make Bora Bora play some kind of ganker because we know he loves to play on that Ivern, and Master Splinter, you know, he's confident he's going to beat anybody that's trying to outgank him. And once you take away the Ivern, you force somebody to play a little more traditional of a jungler.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see after the Ivern ban, it's going to be a Hecarim ban. No surprise there. Followed by a pretty early Karthus ban going against Thrifty, followed by a Vladimir from TSA. So two target bans already onto Thrifty
I
Senpai.
I love how Thrifty Senpai has drawn so many target bans this season, but no one has been able to agree on which bans to drop on him. Just that you need to drop two or three every game.
Yeah, to fill the quota. But I mean, maybe looking at past success, at least from last week in the semifinals, he had a very good Vlad performance. I had a mediocre Vlad performance, but then came back the game after on Vlad for some true devastation there.
Yeah,
Um,
the three games they won in that reverse sweep last week were Vlad, Karthus. So I definitely can see the logic behind dropping those bans.
yep. Last ban overall in ban phase one is going to be Nocturne, taking that away from Splinter as well. We'll see what TSA first pick overall here on blue side, and it's going to be Misfortune securing that for Bernie Sanders' bot.
Yeah, there's a pick that we've seen Bernie on a ton this season, especially on their winning streak way earlier in the split. Pretty solid first pick. Not something that's going to get abused in lane by most matchups.
Yeah, and it's like you said, definitely one of his comfort ones, and probably a good pick to start the series off on a strong note. Not putting your bot lane into a bad position early on against the Mighty Wolf, who might have another phenomenal series here to cap the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm super happy with that if I'm TSA. And they're gonna match that up with the Blitzcrank and the Vel'Koz.
Oh
Oh, we did not even think about the Vel'Koz, or at least I didn't.
no,
It's been so long. Um,
yeah, yeah. I mean that's we focus so much on Splinter, but I mean Renai Circulation, Blabuer, a very admirable player in his own right, has had some crazy performances on Vel'Koz, and it actually comes through here in game one. But it's gonna be answered by a mid lane Twisted Fate for Thrifty on the opposite side of the rift.
yeah, Thrifty, he's kind of got a history of thinking he can counterpick opposing players on their best champ. So I assume this was Kick-Ass's plan from the get-go because if you know Blue Blue at all, you know that Vel'Koz is open. He's gonna pick it. So we will see how this goes for Thrifty. This is not a situation he's always capitalized on, and Blabur on the Vel'Koz is pretty next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even in post game interviews, Thrifty has said, as far as Kick-Ass drafting strategy goes, they're very okay with leaving a lot of power picks open, or at least leaving some, maybe leaving some, even some of the more obvious bans against certain players. They'll leave those open, maybe lulling them into a false sense of security, and then maybe even beating them on that pick, where they really don't have anything else to turn to as far as drafting goes. And we're already through ban phase 2 as well. Tom Kench, Caitlyn, Swain and Kennen came through in that phase. And, Azaya for the Mighty Wolf.
Yeah, I really like all these Phase 2 bands, and I really am excited about the Zaya pick. We got to see it technically last week in the quote-unquote DC game that Wolf was playing, so I am really pumped to see Zaya for the first time for real.
Yeah, no hindrances there. That would be fantastic. And TSA, they're going to lock in Jarvan. And we actually saw, I believe we saw Sword Mason Jarvan once this season. Is that correct? I mean, we usually see it in the jungle from Master Splinter.
Yes, we saw Sword, I want to say, in one of their tiebreaker games.
Yeah, yep. Week
Yeah,
11,
it was
that's when
actually,
it came in.
it was their tiebreaker game versus KIKAS.
Ooh.
And that's just kind of a, if you go way back in the day, that's a pretty traditional Sword and Mace pick. And then, Master Splinter busted out something we have not seen in a while with the Pantheon.
Oh, boy, this is quite a composition TSA has wound up with here in game one. Jungle Pantheon, and that is, like you said, very true. I didn't even know this was still a pick, like a viable pick nowadays. But I mean, he still has really like strong early ganking, level 3, a lot of power to be packed in the spears. And the draft's gonna be rounded out with a last pick overall for Trundle going over to Scotchnaut in the top lane.
Yeah, I am really loving this draft coming out of TSA. I feel like they got a lot of power picks, and then they also have a comp that works together very well. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than the Wombo Combo comp, and that's a Wombo Combo comp if you'll ever see one.
Yeah, and I mean, really, the only oddball out is the Blitzcrank pick, but obviously that seemed to be an answer to Zyra, picked early in the first rotation for KIKAS. Not sure how he fares against Zaya. I know she has some kind of mobility packed into her kit, but Zyra not the most mobile of supports. Really she can use her plants actually to block grabs coming in, but it takes a lot of reaction time, and it's actually fairly difficult with the new Zyra. I think it's going to be really tough, but as far as the bot lane matchup goes, MF and Blitzcrank versus Zyra and Zaya. How do you feel that one plays out?
Yeah, to me, the big factor is going to be, like you were saying, in that bot lane, Zorb's on the Zyra, and he's been very inconsistent this season. If he's had one of his decent games, then we usually see Wolf go off, but some games, he's kind of a hook magnet, and when that happens, we've seen it really weigh down on Wolf.
Yeah. That has to be the TSA strategy going into this bot lane, is you pick something like this where they can try to catch Zorbs out early in the laning phase and get him behind, and like you said, therefore also getting Mighty Wolf behind in his laning phase. So kind of a late start into that mid game spike. Overall, though, we talked a little bit about TSA's lineup here, a lot of wombo combo and some pick potential. What do we got here for KIKAS?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mix between a wombo and like a split pushing and pick comp. They have a lot of ways they can play this out depending on how the game's going. Maybe they're going to try to use the Zyra and the Sejuani to do more disengaging while they set up their Twisted Fate and or their Trundle for a split push.
Yeah,
and obviously there's a lot of ways they can get picks with that comp. Yep. But I'd say I'm not as big of a fan of the kick-ass comp just because there's more unknowns here with the Zaya. The Sejuani's still a fairly new pick. And Scotch played, I think, 3 games on the Trundle last week. Yeah, it was 3 games on the Trundle last week, and honestly, I wasn't a gigantic fan of it.
Yeah, and I can't recall if he actually played it into Purple's Jarvan. I believe... no, it wasn't. I don't think... Did he pick Jarvan?
I do not have those notes up, so I cannot say.
Okay. Maybe Twitch chat can help us out there, but, I mean... It seems to be one of his go-to tanks, but he usually picks it, obviously, as kind of a counter to kind of a bruiser archetype, because you can steal that AD with the Q for Trundle, and you can kind of go toe-to-toe if you're fighting on Frozen Domain with some of these bruisers. So that's probably the strategy they're going for there. But like you said, also opening up for a 4-1 split push, even a 1-3-1. Twisted Fate, Thrifty Senpai, if we switch over to the Summoner spell, is going to be running Ghost and Flash on his TF here, but still has that ultimate for global pressure. And the Ignite for Zorbs here on Zyra with only an Exhaust for Reventoad on the Blitzcrank, so a little interesting there. Actually, potentially more burst coming out from Zyra's kit overall. Not sure how it pairs up with Zaya though, but from what I've seen, you can get some pretty good damage down with her as well. Okay, Purple did not play
Durham. Thanks, Purple. So while we've got a chance here before this first game, maybe we get a chance to go a little bigger picture here. Are we both in agreement that mid lane is the matchup, like the most important matchup of the finals?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, it's if you're just going lane to lane, yeah, without a doubt, it has to be Blabour stepping up for TSA today, just matching Thrifty Senpai, and pretty much everything he does, trying to contain him so he doesn't go off and become that carry superstar that he is known to be.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this matchup all week, and to me, if there's one player to watch for this entire series going into it, it's Renai Circulation in my book. He's always been a really solid player who's, for various reasons, not been able to have a whole lot of success. And I think this team is the best chance he's maybe ever going to have. This is just a great team for him. And in general, TSA's successes have been really tied to Renai having good games. And on the other side, Thrifty, he's really tapered off since his hot start of the season. I don't think he was that exceptional last week.
Only in a select few moments here and there, yeah.
Yeah, with Thrifty, it feels like we've gotten to this point in the season where his good games always have to come with a few bad moments. And I think if Thrifty plays the way he played last week, Renai is going to go off tonight and be able to hard carry, because Renai will capitalize on those mistakes. He always has. And for Renai, I think starting off on a really good note, because he gets to play on that Vel'Koz, which we know is his favorite, most comfortable champ in League of Legends. So I'm really excited for him. I hope he gets to prove me right here. And I think he will tonight. If I got to make a prediction, I'm putting my money on TSA for this series.
TSA?
Yeah.
Wait, what? TSA for the series?
Yeah.
Did that change from our pre-stream discussion?
Yes, 30, it did, because I'm trying to be a showman right now so we can have conflicting opinions.
Oh, man. But I was going to change mine on you. Oh, man.
Okay, I take it back then. Fine.
No, you can be the TSA guy. I'll just be the kick-ass guy then. Yeah. As far as their key to success here, it's, and I think maybe a lot of people could agree from last week, it's Scotch has always been the player that needs to play above expectations of what the non-carry top laners in this league play to, and I think he did that last week. I mean, he was pretty much on tanks every game. Yeah, he was on tanks every game, but some of those games he really just got out of the laning phase and started grouping up with his team, and he was such a force on these tanks. He was really doing his job and more, and I think he can do that again today. If anything, he's won the last 2 weeks against Purple and Mad Cow, and this week he plays against Sword and Mace. And no offense to Sword and Mace, but now we're actually kind of at an even top lane matchup here. So I don't know. Maybe Scotch really only plays to that level when he, it's like the odds are against him. So for me though, it's Scotch and KIKAS. That's who the guy he needs to step up today.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how this top lane goes tonight, because like you said, I would say Scotch has exceeded expectations the last 2 weeks. But in general, I don't think he's ever been that exceptional of a laner. He's not somebody that I think really punishes his opponents, and I do think Sword is a better team fighter than Scotch is.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
So I'm curious to see if Scotch is able to get something going early or not.
Yep, and we're loaded here on the Rift, folks, for Game 1, Best of 5, SBL Season 9 Finals, and no Level 1 action.
I was so excited for a moment there.
Yeah. Yeah, TSA, they were in this bush, top side of red, so they were looking for it, and KIKAS almost took that bait.
I like how KIKAS has just totally abandoned that mid ramp that every Blitzcrank takes for the invade.
Well, and actually, that's a
part
good
of
point.
that.
This is the first Blitzcrank game in recent SBL history that we just don't see them invade, doing that, like you said, the Blitzcrank route, up and around blue there. So, I guess they were just waiting to see if they'd come in and pull them into the bush. But fairly standard start here for both teams. Both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map, so they might meet each other early on in the top lane.
Yeah, hoping that's the case because this could we get some really explosive lanes here if these junglers start showing up in the same place at the same time. So looking at some bigger picture stuff here, we got first dragon in the game going to be Infernal. So the stage is kind of set for this to be action packed from the very beginning.
Yeah, and I guess pretty much every fight in this early game would probably favor TSA as far as even dragon fights, or kind of a small team skirmish. A lot of big impact abilities early on for TSA. Wow, some good trading going on in the top lane. Gets both the top laners pretty low there, and Master Splinter, yeah, he's making his way up. He's got the double buffs now on the Pantheon. But
yeah, this is
Scotch gonna ward it up.
I say it was a good time for Splinter to lay down some pressure as actually Storm's going in for a big trade. He's gonna one hit away from a Thunderlord's proc, but not gonna get it.
Yeah. Scotch has to back off that big old wave there. The hook lands onto the Mighty Wolf, and the exhaust comes through from Revento, but it's going to just be a flash from Mighty Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf really lucky to walk away, only having to blow his flash there, because that looked a lot worse.
Yeah, Master Splinter waiting in the top lane bush here, seeing if Scotch will poke out. Q's down for Sword and Mace, though. So you'd have to wait another cooldown here.
That was E down as well. This
Yeah.
is
He's
an
gonna have to wait
interesting
out
way
the
to be playing
cooldowns.
this out.
Yeah, and Master, he's very alright with waiting this one out. The red buff actually wore off. That's how long it is. And there comes the stun. And Scotch has the flash out.
Yeah, that was a lot invested to only get the flash there. As in this bot lane, Swerve's going to be forced to flash next to the top lane. We see the tower dive going to be attempted. Splinter going for the flash stun, the knockup from Sword and Mace, and first blood onto the Pantheon.
Wow, we get a lot of persistence from Master Splinter here to stay topside, and Scotchy was just still too low to stick around there without the flash, and they bait him out between the towers there and get the first blood.
Yeah, this is a matchup that, Swerve's gonna
Oh!
go under the tower, and there's the knockup kill onto Bernie Sanders' bot.
Yeah, and he just blew the flash moments ago. I don't know if our auto director picked it up, but yeah, Reventoad, he's just on a hook frenzy here. 3 hooks, 2 flashes, and a kill. That's how you play Blitzcrank in the lane, man.
Yeah, and a really good start for TSA here as Wolf is playing this really far forward. I don't know what he was hoping to do there, as Wolf going to give Bernie Sanders' bot his second kill of the game.
Yeah, that was very greedy for Wolf to stand there. Once the W is up on Blitzcrank, he has full priority just to literally walk up into your face and punch you.
Yeah, and he didn't even have a flash there. I mean, you can't heal a hook.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very odd positioning there out of Mighty Wolf early on in game 1, but it's going to be a 3-kill lead for TSA to start this one off.
Yeah, and a really bad place for the kills to happen for KIKAS as well. I think one of the things we thought about the series going into it was who could abuse their matchup harder, Master Splinter or Mighty Wolf. And now the Mighty Wolf is very decisively behind in his lane.
Yeah, Splinter is in the mid lane bush. He's looking for something onto Thrifty Senpai. The knockup's going to land from a nice circulation. Splinter's here with the stun, with the spear, but not going to be enough damage to finish him off. But both summoners gone now for Thrifty Senpai.
Yeah, Master Splinter is going to have a field day on this Pantheon. He's almost level 6, and there's currently not a single flash available for KIKAS, excluding the Sejuani.
Yeah, where has Sejuani been? It looks like Bora Bora very content with power farming here. Hasn't really shown up in any lane.
Yeah, content with power farming, but he's behind Master Splinter.
I mean, basically any kind of strategy you take against Master Splinter, he's gonna find a way to get the gold lead. It's just magic, man. Yeah, and he's got 300 gold up, but that's what I mean. First blood gold's gonna get you, so makes sense there. Thrifty maybe. Oh, no, he's just gonna get that blue donated off, or it's not even up. Nope. But Bora Bora looked like he was going in bot lane to try another Bora Bora in lane to gank, but doesn't find anything there.
Yeah, Hook gonna hit onto the creep as Wolf and Zwerbs. They're still playing this lane with a little bit of gusto. Now, Master Splinter may be a bit deep in bad territory. He's gonna go try to force a trade on a Thrifty before he dies, but won't get much as he gives KIKAS their first kill of the game and a pause.
Alright, looks like we got Zwerbs legging out here. So hopefully that issue will be resolved shortly. Should be. I don't think there's any terrible bugs or crashes we were encountering last week. So it's probably just some internet stuff going on. But man, so far TSA coming out of the door swinging. 3 early kills there. Splinter, you know, handing his life over there in the jungle. Not sure what he was actually doing in the Dragon Pit, but gets cut off at an awkward angle, and that kill actually goes over to Thrifty Senpai. So that's at least some relief for the KIKAS squad.
Yeah, and that finally gives them something. They need somebody to start going off, and they needed it fast, so that'll help Thrifty a lot as he gets to start making these own plays, as he was down a lot of CS in that mid lane matchup. And it looks like both these teams are ready, so we're going to have an unpause here real quick. And yep, here we go.
So with the jungler down, this might be an opportunity for KIKAS to do the dragon, but looks like they're not willing to start it yet.
Yeah, that was bad shot calling out of KIKAS. I think they needed to go for that.
Yeah. The only thing they might have been concerned about was just Redeye circulation really is pushing this mid wave up as fast as possible. It seems Thrifty pretty much just relegated to staying in the lane and wave clearing. But I mean, take a couple creeps to the tower though. You take the Infernal Drake when you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know that TSA, their team is only going to get better as this game goes on with all the wombo they have available. No chance to fight before that MF ult was available would have been big.
Yeah, it's going to be all about the numbers advantage for KIKAS. Forcing the numbers. And Master Splinter uses the Blasco to jump over the wall and catches Scotchanaut out in the river. And it's going to be another kill going over to him. Mighty Wolf swerves. They're getting into the tuffle in the bot lane. Bernie Sanders bot. He's going to go down. Mighty Wolf is so incredibly low. Flash Punch is going to finish him off from Revan Toad, but he will be answered back by a Bora Bora and Swerves. That one going over to Swerves. And meanwhile, mid lane, Blab uses the ultimate, gets Thrifty so low, and now Splinter, he's here with the blue buff. Gold card is activated, and he walks away.
Ooh, that is so big that Thrifty got out there. A lot going on all at once on this map. But gonna be 2 kills in both directions.
Yeah.
Really
Yep.
hard to say. I don't think anyone came out super far ahead on those plays.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to decipher that as well. I don't think, yeah, I totally agree. It seems to be pretty much a wash across the board. Gold
Just
lead,
accelerated the game a bit.
yeah, gold lead stays pretty much the same as it was since the first couple minutes after the first blood, so. And after the first couple kills, I should say. But
And poor Scotch, direct to camera had a show missing all those creeps.
at least we didn't comment on. Oh.
It's okay. I'm sure he's getting them all now that we're not watching.
Yeah, but 30 Senpai, he is now roaming to the bot side. Hook's going to land on the Zwerves, but he's going to stay alive. Now Thrifty, he's into the bot lane and catches the Revan Toad from behind. And Mighty Wolf going to pick up that kill. They're going to keep chasing. The gold card goes on to Bernie Sanders' bot. Here comes the root. The damage comes through. Bernie turns but dies. Double kill for Mighty Wolf.
Double kill on the Zaya, and for everything that went wrong early, we now see the Mighty Wolf back in total control of this bot lane. A great play out of Thrifty Senpai coming in as Revan Toad was engaging, and just huge gold swing coming in KIKAS's favor, who are suddenly looking more like the team we expected to see tonight.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they needed, and they've evened up the gold pretty much even. 5 to 5 kills here. And lanes will be reset. Now it might be the time these teams might be looking for this Infernal Drake here. The TSA squad now they're leveled up. They all have a level. Oh, they all have level 6, that's for sure. But Scotchnaut, Bora Bora runs the gank on Distorted Maze, but the Sejuani ult is gonna fly wide.
Yeah, but now Master Splinter, meanwhile, coming in this mid lane. Thrifty and Master Splinter both gonna blow flashes there.
Whew, close one. Thrifty with the, if that flash was just a second later, might have been his death there. Being locked up by Splinter, but Bora Bora now he visits mid lane, just pushing off Blab from that tower.
Yeah, man. Thrifty has been able to play very aggressively around his summoner cooldowns in this game. I feel like he's been flashing pretty much on cooldown, and he hasn't been punished so far. It's been working out.
Mm-hmm. Now Splinter, he clears some vision and sets up some vision of his own in that Dragon River, so TSA looking like they have firm control over the Infernal Drake whenever they choose to start it up. But it is not going to be now, because we see Thrifty Senpai rotating through his jungle into the top side here. Doesn't have the ultimate yet, so he'd be looking for a river gank. Scotch uses no ultimate actually, and he has to flash out of the Cataclysm, and now this opts in for Thrifty Senpai. He is looking for the range. It's going to go through the bush. The gold card lands, and Scotch is going to follow in with the chomp, but will there be enough to finish him off? And it won't.
Yeah, really nice play out of Sword and Miss to make it out there. As we see Pantheon, man dropping down towards the bot lane. The exhaust is down onto the Mighty Wolf, who doesn't see a way out of this one, so he's trying to trade a kill before he goes. Gonna pop the ult defensively, but not gonna finish off any of the kills with it. But now Thrifty Senpai maybe looking to make a play down towards the spot. These guys are very, very low. He's gonna get hooked, stunned.
Oh!
Beautiful play from Revan Toad, but Thrifty Senpai will match. But now Belkaz is here, gonna be the easy pickoff onto Zwerves, and a 1-for-3 play in favor of TSA, who are finally rotating towards that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and they will secure it surely, unless a full health with ultimate Bora Bora wants to try to go for it, try for a steal at the very least here. Top lane, they're laying down the hits, and Scotchnaut now has that Trundle ultimate, and it looks like he's going to finish off Sword of Mage, just one more hit, and he does. He picks up the kill, and Bora Bora goes into the pit, and what? He stole it!
Oh!
Oh! The legend. I think our auto director went in just at the last second before that happened. But yeah, he did it. Very unlike Splinter to lose that kind of smite fight.
Yeah, that makes everything that happened there kind of all right for KIKAS.
Yeah.
You know how much everyone loves that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and Scotch picking up that solo kill up top and against Sword and Mace, so KIKAS still fighting back.
Yeah, only down about 1,500 gold. Not the ideal place to be, but it's not going to be the end of the world either.
Wow, 130 CS on Blabuur's Vel'Koz here at 14:30 into the game here. So, but surprisingly, Thrifty's up, you know, like 50 or so gold. Oh, never mind, just switched. But very close mid lane gold here.
Yeah, the extra kills and the extra assists having an impact for Thrifty. And I feel like both of these guys are probably pretty content with the point they're at in this game right now.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And now that maybe we'll start seeing more group play from TSA, and I guess KIKAS as well, we might be able to see a little bit more of that Vel'Koz power come through in team fights, where Thrifty has been definitely exploiting some side lane disadvantages here on this Thrifty, or on the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, and Sword Mace, I don't know if after getting solo killed, I would be using that EQ aggressively anymore, as he's trying to put some CC down to Scotchnaut, but he's got a flash at the last second there. His Magic Splinter showed up for this gank. He is one hit away from getting the kill, but not going to be able to find it.
Woo, risky. Very close, and a flash expended with an ultimate from Magic Splinter's Pantheon, and still not enough to take down a Trundle through his ultimate. So maybe
Yeah,
Scotch
this
is
is
becoming a problem.
This has kind of been a rough point in the game for Sword and Mace, as he, fortunately for him, it's easy to fall behind to the Trundle and just farm things out, since the Trundle's so slow to, you know, turn his pressure into a kill. But Sword's got to stop playing for any kind of trades, unless he's tried to bait a gank out like he did there, but even then he's got to be careful. But we see Thrifty step by coming in towards the top lane, putting the stun down onto Sword and Mace. There's a ghost coming out. Thrifty looking for the gold card stun under the tower, and the auto gonna secure the kill. But now, meanwhile, in the bot lane, Wolf using the Xayah ult to dodge the Blitzcrank, putting down a ton of damage on both members of the TSA bot lane. And the snare almost lands on a Revan Toad.
Well, actually, something I didn't notice, that bot tower health for TSA is already below half. So Mighty Wolf and Zords have been pushing that in constantly, it appears, and laying down as much damage as they can. But yeah, skirmish in the bot lane, like you casted there. Mighty Wolf using that ultimate to dodge that vital CC from Blitzcrank. Keeps them alive, and what is the gold here for the ADCs? And Mighty Wolf's only up by 100. 4-2 and 2 on Bernie Sanders' misfortune is keeping him into this game.
Yeah, and one thing to keep an eye on here is, while all those fights were going on, Thrifty Senpai did lose his tier 1 turret in the mid lane. So this could make his roam pressure a little harder to pull off, as we see Master Splinter dropping down to the bot lane. But we see Scotchnaut trying to match with the TP. A hook gonna pull the Xayah in, and the exhaust is down. Swerves and Bernie Sanders bot both going down very early. Then Demighty will pick up a second kill, and they're pushing forward onto Master Splinter. Blabuur, though, looking to defend this choke point, which the Vel'Koz is very good at doing, but not even gonna need to pop the ultimate there. As we ultimately see a 1-for-2 in favor of KIKAS, as the Mighty Wolf, bro? Huh?
Question mark ping, man. When you get knocked up by Blabuur's Vel'Koz and the full combo comes through, man, it might already be too late if you're a squishy character on Summoner's Rift, and we can see that Vel'Koz damage very devastating at this point in the game. But 3-man push from KIKAS here in this mid tower, undefended because of the roam from Renai circulation. So it's gonna be a tower answered back by KIKAS, but answered back by another tower for TSA in the top lane.
Yeah, that's going to be all right for KIKAS, though. That mid tower is super important when you have a TF on the field. As we see aforementioned TF going straight to the top lane, getting that sword down on Sword Mace, who's already lost his gap creator. Gonna force 50 into the Cataclysm here, but now 3 members of KIKAS have arrived, and TSM Bora Bora gonna put himself on the board.
Yeah, pretty simple gank there. Sword Maze chooses to stay for the tower, but has a long lane back, and 3 men from KIKAS are going to take him down easily. But because they expended the time on the gank, they actually didn't have the priority on the Rift Herald here. So TSA, they came back from their backs, and 3 people in the pit. Yeah, it looks like they're going to get this.
They're going to trade the Rift Herald for the bot lane turret, so I'm probably fine with that if I'm KIKAS. Not that any of us are an expert on the new Rift Herald yet.
Yeah, and wow, the two teams are accelerating this game so fast. They're just trading objectives back and forth. And I'm not sure who that Rift Herald buff went on. It should. Oh yeah, actually, it's on the scoreboard. Master Splinter. So.
Yeah, you can look at the trinket. It turns in, that's where they activate the Rift Herald from.
Nice. So, wondering if they're gonna somehow group bot and use the Rift Herald there, or somehow find a good rotation onto the mid tier 2. But it's gonna be really tough with all this global pressure from the KIKAS squad. But the teleport is down for Scotch. So a little over 20 minutes into the game here. Pretty much dead even gold. Dead even in kills and towers. And really the only thing that separates these two teams is the Infernal Drake stolen earlier in the game by TSA and Bora Bora. And we are maybe grouping up here for our first big team fight of the game. And TSA, they are definitely looking to take the advantage there.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, remember, Sword and Mace does have the TP advantage on Scotch for a while now, so KIKAS should not be approaching to fight this.
Oh, but you know what they're doing? They're
like
approaching
they
to fight
are.
this. Leaves Bernie Sanders in the Dragon Pit for a little bit there, so he's gonna get beat up.
TPing it very deep though.
Yeah, wow. So KIKAS, they are routed back a little bit, and they actually give the space, and TSA take the Dragon.
Yeah, looking like they're going to try to maybe trade Dragon for the top lane turret. I mean, it's just an Ocean Dragon. Laning phase is over, so not the most important thing to give up in the Worlds.
Yep, and Scotch is laying down the beats there. Thrifty teleports into the bot side, maybe looking for a backing misfortune, and he does. Smacks her with a card and finishes off Master Splinter and uses his ultimate to go on to Thrifty Senpai.
Yeah, nice slick play out of Thrifty there to get the kill and get out. Master Splinter's big, but not 100 to 0 Thrifty Senpai big yet. As we see another crisp rotation on a KIKAS, they're going to get a lot of damage on onto this top lane turret. Setting that up for what will be an easy take later on.
Glides on through that knock up. That could have been probably a converted kill if they were to land knock up on any one of them from KIKAS, but yeah, that KIKAS squad, they gotta back here, kind of reset the map, get their lanes in a good spot. TSA though, it looks like they're on the back foot now. Very surprisingly, very quickly things have turned. KIKAS, like you said, crisp rotations have netted them a gold lead.
Yeah, KIKAS, they look in control right now, but the way these two comps play out, I would expect them to look a little more in control at this point in the game, because they're only one play away from losing everything they're building up. TSA can capitalize super fast on any mistake KIKAS make, and once they do, they should be able to bite off a lot with it.
Oh, and oh, there it is. Master Splinter is in the bot lane, and he summons the Rift Herald and just walks away. Lets Rift Herald do his thing down there. A teleport going to be expended by Scotch and not to try to keep this one alive, and 4 members from KIKAS go into the bot side. That Bora Bora doubles back, but the Rift Herald not going to be enough to finish it off.
Yeah, looking like with the setup TSA had, they're not going to get anything out of that, so KIKAS ultimately winning that turret for Rift Herald trade that happened earlier, as they are all approaching towards this Baron, and they're starting it.
Yeah.
They know the bot lane and KIKAS have no way of getting here, but Thrifty Senpai, he sees this with the Twisted Fate ult right now, hoping they can force TSA off. Remember, even with only 3, they can put down a lot of pressure in this Baron pit, as we see Blab being engaged over from the side, and Thrifty on the other end gets the pick on a Bernie Sanders bot. Oh, this could be a disaster for TSA as the Swat Eel comes out. It's only going to be a slow on the Revenge and Splitter, as, oh, Scotch, that was not a pretty series of events.
Yeah. But the fight is still continuing on the blue side here. TSA are trying to run away. Bora Bora is going to get some CC and stun onto Master Splinter. Thrifty so close, landing the gold card. Hook misses on the other side of the wall, and Splinter goes down. during this whole time. Oh, Swordmace comes in from behind, knocks up Thrifty, but now he's going to get turned around, and the supported top laner for TSA, they can't fight this. The power from Twisted Fate and Sejuani is too much, dominating Thrifty Senpai. Zwerves goes down in the base.
Oh, but Zwerves and Wolf, in addition to everything that we're waiting on the top side of the map, they get the bot lane inhibitor turret in the 2v1. Just a huge win across the map for KIKAS, capitalizing on... as soon as that Twisted Fate ultimate came out, TSA needed to give up on that Baron.
Yeah,
I have no idea what they were thinking they could do in that pit.
Yeah, and the thing is, Thrifty, he teleported to the top tri-bush and just walked along the river and catches Bora Bora outside the pit. Straight up gold card. No defensive positioning there from Birdie Sanders' spot on the Misfortune. So, yeah, I agree. You see the TFL, you either run away or you just commit and stick in the pit. Do something, but it's going to be a 4K gold lead for KIKAS here, a little over 25 minutes. I mean, Baron's still up. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the big thing for KIKAS is now they have an inhibitor turret down. They have a lot of ways they can approach this game from here out.
Yeah, and Thrifty, he now has the TF ultimate up again, so he can opt to go into bot lane or maybe stick together with his team. The hook lands onto Zwerves, and it's actually going to be converted into a kill there. And a flash from Reventone dodges the Sejuani ult. Match winner, he's going for the backside flank here. Vel'Koz's ult comes through to damage up front, and GA is popped on the Mighty Wolf. I had to double check that was him. Early GA purchase by Mighty Wolf on the Zaya, but the fight might not be over. Reventone is looking for the hook, but not going to land.
Yeah, like we said, TSA, when they get a pick, they're going to get it really fast, and they should be able to take a lot with it. So definitely should be at least one turret here in the mid lane, and I think they're going to try to pressure for 2 if I know them. Oh. As we see, TSA and Bora Bora really committing hard to try to slow things down, but Reventone taking a lot of damage out of this turret, going to go down to Scotch, and they're not even going to get one turret. A really bad push out of TSA.
Yeah, yeah, but very disappointing if you're a TSA fan, but they have to respect it with the one man down, and now the bot lane from KIKAS now just coming back up, and they're able to push these lanes out. Dragon is coming up in 6 seconds. It's gonna be another Ocean Drake. Not sure if KIKAS is gonna prioritize that too heavily, but they do have the priority on it, so they're already there in the river. And now they're going to try to clear some vision and set something up here. Oh, Thrifty goes deep. He goes behind enemy lines, and he was looking for a pick out on Bernie Sanders' spot, but now he has to get out himself. And it looks like he will.
Yeah, that was a weird ult in from Thrifty. I assumed he was just ulting for vision there.
Oh!
As we see, Blaboor gonna get the secure onto Dragon, but at what cost? His third base is gone and gonna give to Mighty Wolf his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, a very odd decision to go in there from Sword and Mace. Flash was still down even, so that was pretty much no escape for him once he went in there. It looks like enough damage through the Misfortune ult and Vel'Koz's ult to steal it over the wall for TSA. So double Ocean Drake, they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, they're in a really good place on the siege. Scotch is almost onto the nearly dead turret in the top lane. They got the tier 2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, and no answer there. Tier 2 was already pretty low from previous pushes, so they're gonna get that one as well. That's the 7th tower for KIKAS in this game, even before 30 minutes. So they have definite map control going into this Baron fight, it appears. And yeah, they started it.
Yeah, they need to be really careful on this Baron. They can get womboed so fast in this pit.
Yeah.
Especially knowing the match winner can be there, on the press of an hour.
Yeah, if you're KIKAS, this might not be the best thing to do. To walk into the Baron pit and, like you said, line yourself up for the wombo. They have the map pressure, so they might be able to abuse some lane movements here. Thrifty comes in from behind onto Bernie Sanders' bot, and flash heal from, actually just a heal would maybe get him out here, but no, there's the gold card and Soy Johnny ult on top of everything. Redemption come through, not going to be enough to save him either. And it'll be Bernie Sanders down. Bernie Sanders bot down for 35 as KIKAS takes the Baron.
Yeah, that's a big part of the wombo down watch. Swerve's doing a really nice job of zoning with the Zyra ult as this Baron going down really fast. Master Splitter not into the pit. Sword Mace is trying to make a play. Master Splitter now just drops the mantle. Baron is still not down. Splitter is in. This is going to be a smite off.
Oh.
As we see people dying on both sides. Master Splitter going to secure the Baron, but at what cost? Baboor trying to finish somebody off with the Velkai's ult, but the hook gonna get a kill to 50 Senpai. This is a 2 for 3 in favor of TSA. And they get Baron to claw their way back into this game.
Wow, and I mean, really, in that Baron fight, they only lost one. Bernie Sanders was the one who was just down, so he just came back up. So the decision to go in there, very gutsy, but they pull it off. Master Splinter with a great Pantheon ult right into the pit, and wins a smite off, and TSA right back in this, only 3k gold down now. And
yeah, KIKAS, they committed so many ults to zoning TSA out of the pit that once TSA got into the pit, where KIKAS had not finished burning Baron, they had turned to fight without a lot of their ults, and without Master Splinter even being there. And everything just falls apart for them.
Yeah, no, they are on the back foot. There appears to be at least 2 Baron buffs, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 Baron buffs on the map for TSA. So they're able to push out the lanes now with the buff.
And to me, the biggest thing about this Baron is for TSA, it stalls the game out. Ooh, a hook onto the Sejuani there gets lit apart.
Wow, this is an awesome game because I always like it when there's 2 opposite win conditions. TSA, and we talked about this in the draft, like their whole team is wombo combo, team fight. And look at this, Blitzcrank, Reventoad, Flash, takes out, swerves, just pick after pick in this 5-man rampage down mid. Not a lot to stop it, but actually Sword Maze recalls to defend bot lane inhibitor from Scotchanaut. Another hook lands on a 30 Senpai. And a stun comes through from Master Splitter, and down goes Thrifty. 3 picks in a row will surely be an inhibitor down for KIKAS.
Yeah, maybe more. I think Scotch has to consider a back here because TSA is playing this out like they want to end. And they have a few seconds of 4v1, now 4v2. But that's just Bora and Wolf. That's not going to be a substantial amount of wave clear as they've already taken a first Nexus start. Bora going in to try to make a play, but he's just getting lit apart. The Velkai's ult worth so much damage. Scotch is taking an inhibitor, but he needed to get the hell out. And Sword Mace is now stopping his back. We see a third spawn here. Is the Bora ult going to come in? And maybe TSA was not able to finish it. They're now chasing onto Renai. They get the shutdown there. Reventoad and Sword Mace making it out with just a few ticks of health. And Scotch chasing around Sword Mace outside the base. But now he is going to resume for KIKAS to make a play.
I don't know what's happening, but it's 21 to 21 kills, and KIKAS stay alive to fight another day. They are down both their inhibitor towers off of that crazy mid lane push from TSA, and now KIKAS they're all the way back in the TSA base.
Oh, they are so lucky that there is not any TSA wards in the base because Sword does have a teleport.
Whoa!
Is the hook gonna land a kill on the Swerves yet again? Should secure this tower staying alive.
Wow, that is some max range hook if I've ever seen it. That just pixels away from missing, but ends the push from KIKAS outright. And Drake is actually going to be another normal Drake. It's going to be a 3rd Ocean Drake coming up here before we see an Elder on the map.
Yeah, 3 Ocean Drakes, just the note we want to see the finals start on.
start with the Infernal, and then we cool down a lot. But wow, I mean, this game's dead even in gold again, and we're even in towers. What a crazy turnaround for TSA.
Yeah, now this feels like we're 1 play away from this being anybody's game, but TSA should, even if they weren't able to win on that play, feel pretty good about where they're at. I feel like they do have the better late game, and KIKAS's window isn't going to be open for much longer without making some sort of outplay on the map happen.
Yeah, TFL comes through just to scout it out to see where the TSA members are, and they're all in mid lane. Sword Mace now has to go up top and answer that wave. He does have the teleport, same as Scotchanotch. And
Yeah, but they gotta be really careful how they play this out. They already have an inhibitor down in their base, and if they screw up this engage, it could be a game-ending mistake.
yeah,
As we see, it looks like they're gonna just give up this dragon. I do not blame them.
yeah. Making sure that they push out their bot in mid, and I guess push out all of their waves for any impending push coming from KIKAS. But Baron, it's that's up in a minute 40, so another buff that could see some kind of contest.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how KIKAS particularly approaches that Baron buff, if they're gonna try to use a split push play. You see, TSA are just kind of barreling down this mid lane. They know they have an exposed Nexus here, so they can make this play. And there's really nothing they have to lose as long as they play the fight out well, which they're acting like they think they can.
Yeah. However, 35 minutes into the game, do you think if it's a full team ace, can KIKAS run it down mid and I guess run it down bot and win the game? It might be pretty close with death timers at this point.
Yeah, it'll depend on how many kills they get, because remember they have that exposed Nexus, so they have to be super conservative about who they commit to running across the map for a push. But looking like TSA doesn't want to play anything too aggressively. They're willing to wait this out for Baron. And KIKAS is probably fine for this. This inhibitor respawn is a huge deal for them because it takes the backdoor play out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pantheon with his ultimate just gets onto the KIKAS jungle and then ults in and finishes the game by himself. Not going to be a reality, most likely, with the inhibitor coming up. Baron now coming up right now. And KIKAS, they already laid down the vision in River. And they picked up the scuttle. So maybe looking for some stray members walking into the river from TSA. Maybe a support. Well, maybe not a support. Blitzcrank is hella tanky at this point. And Reventoad, man, that last push on this Blitzcrank, so influential in picking up his team all of these objectives. Just pick after pick.
So inhibitors respond for both teams now, as these guys were clearly getting a little uncomfortable to be so far over a kill a minute. They've slowed things down for the last 4. Both teams kind of setting up their posturing around Baron. Here we are, 37 and a half minutes in. These teams are still 300, 400 gold apart.
You know, that's awesome because that probably means we're going to have a very good finals here tonight. Just like the last 2 series. I mean, it's really remarkable. This actually might be some of the closest playoffs ever in SBL history.
Yeah, it has been, and I think this is a season where you legitimately, like, there's a scenario where 5 different teams could have won the league.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So, and it all comes down to this: the last remaining teams here. TSA, they're coming off. Oh, wait a minute. The fight is beginning. Master Splinter, he has the ultimate. He is now behind the KIKAS squad.
Yeah,
Swerves the flash early. Oh my god, he is so far away into the bottom lane, so it's effectively a 5v4. The Vel'Koz comes through the bush. A lot of damage comes through, but no deaths have been confirmed. Mighty Wolf comes up from the GA, and he will go down. Master Splitter hanging on by a thread. Knockup comes onto Bora Bora. Flash auto from Sword Mace finishes him off. 2 down for KIKAS, and there's the hook. Scotch goes down. Thrifty, he's in the back doing everything he can to keep this game 1 alive for KIKAS, but what can he do with the almost exposed Nexus now? Inhibitor is going to be going down. Swerve's incredibly low. And now Thrifty goes down, and that will be it. TSA picking up game 1.
What an awesome play. That just a vintage Master Splinter play on that Pantheon. So you see Twisted Fate in the bot lane, immediately knows there's no way he can get to that fight, and makes the game-winning engage before the enemy team can get their 5th there.
Yeah, wow, nice play there. And yeah, we unfortunately we don't see a crazy Clown Fiesta in the Baron Pit, but surely we'll see some more of that as we move further into the night. So stay tuned, folks. Very, very short break, and we'll get back into Game 2.